Long ago, there lived a young boy named Yusuf, known for his extraordinary beauty and pure heart. He was the son of Prophet Yaqub, and had 11 brothers. Among them, Yusuf and his younger brother Binyamin were the dearest to their father. This favoritism, however, stirred jealousy in the hearts of Yusuf's older brothers. One night, Yusuf, had a remarkable dream. He saw 11 stars, the sun, and the moon bowing to him. Confused but intrigued, he told his father about the dream. Yaqub, immediately realized that this was a vision of Yusuf's future greatness. He advised Yusuf to keep the dream a secret, warning him that his brothers might plot against him out of envy. The brothers' jealousy soon turned into a plan to rid themselves of Yusuf. They convinced their father to let Yusuf join them on a trip, pretending they wanted to bond with him. Reluctantly, Yaqub agreed, but he cautioned them to protect Yusuf. Once away from their father, the brothers carried out their sinister plan. They threw Yusuf into a deep, dark well and left him there alone. They returned home with false tears, claiming a wolf had devoured Yusuf, and presented his shirt stained with fake blood. Yaqub, heartbroken but wise, turned to Allah for patience and strength. Meanwhile, a passing caravan discovered Yusuf in the well. Seeing his beauty, they decided to sell him in the markets of Egypt. He was purchased by a nobleman, Al-Aziz, who brought him home. Al-Aziz's wife, Zuleika, was captivated by Yusuf's charm and eventually tried to seduce him. But Yusuf, being a prophet and a man of unwavering faith, resisted her advances, seeking refuge in Allah. This angered Zuleika, who falsely accused Yusuf of misconduct. Despite his innocence, Yusuf was imprisoned. In prison, Yusuf's wisdom and ability to interpret dreams became well known. Two fellow prisoners sought his help. Yusuf interpreted their dreams accurately, predicting that one would be freed while the other would be executed. He also took this opportunity to call them to the worship of Allah alone. Years later, the Pharaoh had a puzzling dream. 7 fat cows were being devoured by 7 thin ones, and 7 green ears of grain were replaced by 7 dry ones. None of his advisors could explain it. The freed prisoner remembered Yusuf's gift and suggested consulting him. Yusuf interpreted the dream, foreseeing 7 years of abundance followed by 7 years of severe famine. He advised the Pharaoh to store surplus grain during the good years to prepare for the famine. Impressed by Yusuf's wisdom, the Pharaoh appointed him as a trusted minister. During the famine, Yusuf's brothers came to Egypt seeking food, not recognizing him as the nobleman in charge. Yusuf, decided to test their sincerity before revealing his identity. Eventually, he forgave them for their past wrongs, saying, "No blame will there be upon you today. May Allah forgive you, and He is the most merciful of the merciful." Quran 12:92. He reunited with his father, Yaqub, and brought his entire family to Egypt. The dream from his childhood finally came true as his parents and brothers bowed to him in respect and gratitude, not as worship but as a recognition of his high status granted by Allah.